The film opens with Olive Pendergast broadcasting live on her webcam, announcing that she is going to tell the real story behind everything people have been saying about her at school. She is going to set the record straight. Then the story rewinds to a few weeks earlier when none of this had happened yet. Olive Pendergast is, in her own words, invisible. She is not disliked. She simply does not register. No one notices her particularly, which is both comfortable and quietly sad. Her only real friend is Rye, an enthusiastic and somewhat overwhelming presence whose parents are the aggressively free-spirited kind. When Ree invites Olive on a camping weekend with her family, Olive genuinely wants to say no. The parents are a lot, but cannot find a way to do it without hurting Ree's feelings, so she invents a date. Ree accepts this completely, wishes her luck, and Olive spends the entire weekend alone at home in a state of moderate bliss, playing the same song over and over on repeat and enjoying the solitude far more than she expected to. When Monday arrives, Ree wants every detail of the weekend that did not happen. The more Olive tries to hedge, the more enthusiastically Rye fills in the blanks herself. She has constructed an entire story in which Olive clearly spent the weekend with someone significant. Olive tries to correct her. Ree is not interested in the correction. They end up in the school bathroom, Ree expectant. Olive running out of energy for the argument. She names a fictional guy called George, confirms the story Ree has already written, and immediately regrets it. What she does not know is that Marianne, a classmate known for her devout convictions and her habit of mounting campaigns against anything she considers sinful, is in one of the bathroom stalls. Marianne hears every word. By afternoon, the story is everywhere. Olive notices for the first time that people are actually looking at her. Not kindly, but they are looking. Marianne has told the school that Olive is a floozy and intends to pray for her soul. Marianne is a recurring force at the school. She previously led campaigns against the school mascot wearing no shirt and against the team being called the Blue Devils, successfully renaming them the Woodchucks. Now she has Olive in her sights. When Olive tries to tell Marianne that none of it was true, Marianne is unmoved. The higher power will judge her, she says. In English class, Olive is reading The Scarlet Letter with Mr. Griffith, her favorite teacher. The novel follows a woman branded with the letter A for adultery and publicly shamed for her choices, while the man equally responsible escapes all consequence. As Olive reads, she starts to notice how much she relates to it. When one of Marianne's friends uses the class discussion to take a direct shot at Olive's supposed behavior, Olive fires back with an insult precise enough to send the room quiet. She gets sent to the principal, who warns her in the plainest terms. One more incident like this and she will not be graduating. In detention, Olive runs into Brandon, someone she has known since earlier grades. He has been having an increasingly difficult time at school because of his sexuality. The harassment is persistent and wearing him down. He has heard about the story circulating about Olive and has come to ask if she might be willing to do something similar for him. If people think he has been with a girl, it might take some of the pressure off. Olive refuses without hesitation. Brandon leaves. He comes back later, clearly having worked himself up to it again, and asks more honestly. He is tired and needs help. Olive looks at him, and the empathy she carries for people who are struggling wins the argument she was having with herself. She agrees, but she is not going to do it quietly. At a party, they arrive together, pretend to be drunk, ask to borrow a room, and put on a performance complete with sound effects while a crowd gathers outside the door. It works. Brandon leaves the party a different person, visibly lighter. Olive leaves the party and gets a call from Ree, who has heard about the performance and is furious that she found out from someone else. The conversation deteriorates quickly. Ree tells Olive to stop acting this way, calls her a dirty skank, and ends the friendship. Olive is genuinely hurt and furious. If people are going to talk no matter what she does, she is going to give them something worth talking about. She resews her wardrobe into tighter, smaller versions and sews a scarlet letter A onto each piece, a deliberate reference to Hester Prynne, who wore hers as a mark of shame and eventually made it her own. Olive walks into school the next day transformed. The reaction is immediate and complete. Students stare. Marianne is openly appalled. Mr. Griffith, who sees her in the hallway, looks genuinely confused and concerned. Olive moves through all of it with studied indifference. Word begins to spread differently now, not just as gossip, but as something with market value. A student named Evan approaches her with a proposition. He will pay her $100 if she will pretend to have been with him, which he believes will improve his standing with a girl he is interested in. She refuses. He tells her he will say it happened anyway, and people will believe him over her. There is enough truth in this to sting. She takes the money. And then, as if a door had been opened, the offers start coming in from all directions. Over the following days, Olive operates what amounts to an informal reputation service. Students pay her in gift cards and small amounts of cash. She pretends to have been with them. Their social standing improves and her reputation deepens in a direction she did not intend to go quite this far. She becomes conspicuous at school in a way she has never been before, noticed, pointed at, discussed. Back in the webcam broadcast she uses to frame the story, she says what she wanted was an 80s John Cusack moment, someone standing outside her window holding a speaker, playing the right song at the right time. This is very much not that. Mr. Griffith, concerned about Olive, asks her to speak with the school counselor, who also happens to be his wife. Olive visits Mrs. Griffith, intending to come clean about everything, but before she can get a word out, Mrs. Griffith hands her a handful of condoms and launches into a prepared speech about safe choices. Olive cannot get a word in. She gives up and leaves the office. In the hallway, she runs into Marianne, who is comforting her boyfriend Micah, a 22-year-old still enrolled at the high school. Shortly after, Micah receives a diagnosis for chlamydia and tells Marianne he got it from Olive. The brief and unlikely friendship that had been forming between Olive and Marianne evaporates instantly. Olive goes back to Mrs. Griffith's office to try to understand what happened with Marianne. There she finds the counselor in visible distress and confessing she is the one who gave Micah chlamydia. The relationship is technically legal given his age, but the professional ethics are a disaster. Mrs. Griffith asks Olive to lie and say it was her. Olive, wanting to protect her favorite teacher's marriage, agrees. She should not, but she does. The next day, flyers appear throughout the school calling for a boycott of Olive. She is exhausted. She has been lying for everyone, and none of the boys she supposedly slept with made any actual attempt to be with her, which raises questions she does not want to think too hard about. When a student named Anson asks her out, she accepts, cautiously hoping for something real. At the restaurant, he offers her money for sex and forces a kiss on her. She fights him off and leaves. Emotionally wrecked, she runs into Woodchuck Todd on the way home, her actual long-standing crush, someone she has circled around for years without ever quite landing. He tells her he has never believed any of the rumors. He knows her and knows who she is. He also remembers that she once covered for him, years ago during a game of 7 Minutes in Heaven. He did not want to participate, asked her to lie, and she did without making it a thing. They stand there and admit, somewhat awkwardly, that they have feelings for each other. Then they go their separate ways, both clearly unsettled by the weight of having said something true. Fed up with everything she has allowed to pile on top of her, Olive wants to take the whole structure apart. She goes to Mrs. Griffith and asks her to confess about Micah so Olive can stop being blamed for something she did not do. Mrs. Griffith refuses absolutely. Olive cannot stay quiet anymore. She goes to Mr. Griffith and tells him about his wife's affair with a student. She knows immediately that this was not the right way to do it, but she was out of options and out of patience. She and Woodchuck Todd come up with a plan, a dramatic musical number at the school pep rally, with an invitation to tune into her broadcast for the real story. It is, as she acknowledges looking back, essentially the world's first clickbait. The film cuts back to the webcam broadcast. Olive tells everything. The original lie she told Rye, the deal with Brandon, the cascade of smaller agreements that followed it, Mrs. Griffith and the chlamydia, all of it. She takes responsibility for every piece of it and explains the logic behind each decision, most of which was empathy and some of which was cowardice. When she finishes, Woodchuck Todd is standing outside her window with a speaker system playing Don't You Forget About Me, which is precisely the 80s movie moment she described wanting at the top of the broadcast. She ends the stream, goes outside, and they ride off together on his lawnmower through the neighborhood. It is completely absurd and entirely earned.